Welcome to The Road is Dead podcast, episode number 105. I'm your host, Rob Curtis, joined today with
Leah, Sanda.
Out in Colorado, we have our good friend
Mike Friedman.
And of course, we have Mr.
Strelecki out here in Geneva.
There we go.
You're
so Illinois, and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I had to jump right in real quick because you guys were talking. It was great stuff, and I wanted to get it on the podcast. But we were telling stories about triathlons, correct, that Tim has done?
Yeah. I mean, Leah, it started off with Leah telling me.
We started talking about urinating on bikes and things you could do while you do other things.
Yeah.
And Rob went to go run and pee, and I was like, well, you can also ride a bike and pee.
So you have peed on a bike. Who else has peed on the bike? Tim, have you peed on the bike?
Nope.
Mike, have you peed on a bike on purpose? Like on the bike?
Yeah, like off the bike. On the bike, it would have to be on purpose, but off the bike,
while riding.
In your pants. I mean,
in your
pants. But it was always a challenge. It was always challenging.
Not with the help of a teammate.
I mean, it's a little more challenging when you're a girl.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I was astonished that you said. Why I was astonished when you said you did it 7 times.
It wasn't really by design. It was kind of the situation. Like I said, the sudden cold rain situation and 112 miles, and you just didn't want to stop because people were pulling out of the race with hypothermia because nobody was prepared for the sudden shift in the temperatures. And what I discovered was that if you pee while you're on a bike I'm assuming anybody, if you pee in your pants, it all runs down your legs into your shoes.
Oh.
And it warmed up my feet every time I went.
That's the smallest benefit.
And I was laughing as I'm riding, and I'm also miserable and in pain, but at least it was this one humorous moment that happened pretty much every hour that I was doing this ride. I was like, I'm loving this. I'm very happy right now. But it's raining on me. And I'm like, the shoes are gone when I'm done. I don't care. Whatever. I just want to survive this thing.
It's just urine. It's mostly water. You just rinse it out.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares?
That's wild.
I can't get behind the movie.
There are worse stories. Jen Harrison.
Yeah.
She did Kona. And was it Jen or was it Elizabeth that had the
pooping incident?
The pooping incident? I think it was Jen.
I don't know. I think Jen had a pooping incident in Wisconsin.
Very, some people get very bad stomach distress when they're running.
Yeah.
And I think she said she would just on the side of the road and just full on diarrhea.
Pull the Tom DeMullen.
But when you're racing Kona, it's, it's like, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Pull out, find a restroom, reserve some decency. I don't know. I'm not judging.
Man,
definitely not judging. It's just not for me.
I have a story about that too. You don't disrespect the Big Island and do shit like that, because you'll take that on the plane back home with you, and you'll get bit by that somehow. That's why you don't take rocks or sand or nothing from the Big Island, because that'll come back on you. But
Haley's revenge.
Yeah, something weird. But I remember being, the race starts at like 7 a.m. So you're in the ocean treading water at 6:30, 6:45, and I'm sitting there, and it's like 5 minutes before the gun goes off, and I'm by myself. I'm like, man, I really got to take a poop. And I look around. I'm like, I could.
That's when it happens.
No, I was like, I could easily just take my wetsuit. I could go away, take my wetsuit down and do my business, drop a deuce in this beautiful ocean here and continue on my merry way. But I didn't. The gun goes off, all that urge and that feeling subsides because your brain immediately goes to, okay, now I got to survive getting beat up by 2,000 people. Do the swim. The day goes on. I find my wife at the end, and she's like, you smell disgusting. And I'm like, really? And she's like, did you throw up on yourself at any point? And I'm like, no, I didn't throw up. I think what had happened is I had to go poop so bad, my body used my feces for like energy, as an energy source. And I like sweat it out throughout the course of the day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't accidentally like poop yourself?
Nope.
Because you were going so hard?
No.
It just exuded out of your pores from sweat.
Yeah. She said, to this day, I've never smelled that bad after anything I've ever done
crazy.
since. And you know what's even crazier?
I mean,
we got back to the hotel and I was so tired. I fell asleep in my singlet. Didn't change, didn't shower, did nothing. Woke up the next day still stinking.
That's terrible.
You know what? I'm still married to her. I'm still married to her. God bless her.
My husband picked me up after my Ironman. My whole body just started to shut down after I crossed the finish line.
Wild.
That's crazy.
And it was like I was running on fumes and stubbornness through that last part of the marathon. And
I know what that feels
like. I started
like.
getting nauseous and I was getting weird temperature fluctuations. He just picked me up, carried me up to the hotel room, filled the bathtub, had me wrapped up in towels and in a robe and everything, and he just stuffed me down into a hot tub with everything on me and just let me soak in heat because I couldn't warm up. I was shaking. I was
That's not good.
Trying not to throw up. I mean, everything. The whole night after that in bed, I was like fryingly hot. For no reason. It's not like it was hot in the room. It's like my body was just going bananas.
Your metabolism's just spiked and it's just eating everything it can get a hold of.
Yeah, I don't think an endurance sport like Ironman is very healthy for you at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Period. Like I don't even think some of these long distance gravel races are healthy for even
I would agree.
The kids that are doing them. They're so bad for you.
I haven't done one of them. I have no idea what it's like to finish that, but I can't imagine. I mean, after like Milan San Remo, and that was like fully supported, I was completely screwed. You know, like when you've gone to that hard level, like that's the thing you guys are talking about the Ironman, you're pushing your body to that extreme, plus a temperature thing, right? So
yeah,
like I you know, how do these guys look at the end of these 200, 300 mile races, these gravel races?
I think the front of the race, the top 5, maybe 6 guys, they're beat up, but that's what they train for, so they're used to it. Like you see a guy like Keegan Swenson. Keegan trains his ass off, and he looks like he just woke up out of bed. He's fresh as a daisy sometimes. And you know, as you get further back, you know, in the teens and 20s, these guys look thrashed. I say guys and girls look just thrashed.
Because they're out there going just as hard relative to them.
Yes.
And for hours longer.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh,
I mean, it took me 14 hours to do an Ironman.
Yeah.
And it was all I had, you know, for 14 hours.
14 hours.
The pros are doing it in 8.
I did Kona in
double the time.
In 11 and change. And then I went back and did an Ironman in Coeur d'Alene. I did Coeur d'Alene. That was a great one. I did that in just over 10. And that's a long fucking day, man.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. And not only is it not healthy physically for you, it's so bad for if you're a married person. It's like the ultimate selfish sport.
Yeah.
I've got some theories on that. I
That's
don't
why I
know
quit.
that I necessarily want to go into all of them, but Jen Harrison keeps giving us a hard time that we haven't had a triathlon episode. So she wants to be on for that.
I don't think we should make this one a triathlon episode.
I threw her under the bus in the beginning here with her shitting on the side of the road.
I don't know that she even listens to this, but she wants to be on and do a triathlon episode. She's too busy to listen to our stuff. But the one thing that I discussed with her at one point was the fact that, to your point of it's not easy on marriages.
Yeah.
Most triathletes, I don't want to say most, that's an unfair painting of the triathlon population. It seems a very common occurrence when people start training for triathlons or getting into them that a lot of them will leave whatever domestic relationships they have.
Mm-hmm. That's very common across lots of athletics. It's not just triathlon. I mean, cycling, same thing.
It almost seems elevated for triathlons, and I would say I got some theories on it. Some of my theories are because triathlons tend to draw in people that want to make major changes in their life, and so it pulls in athletes that are going to see a bigger change through training and everything else. You have people that spend, way more time training and with the people that they're training with, as opposed to spending it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're starting to see changes in their bodies and they're starting to feel better about themselves and they look better, they feel better and everything else, what tends to usually happen is if you have a partner that's at home that isn't necessarily doing that kind of workload and doing that kind of training, they can quite often feel a lot of jealousy in a way, pissed off at the person who's taking all that time and doing all that, and then they're feeling all great about themselves. So there tends to be this animosity and this arguing that kind of creeps up, and then that just tends to intensify and get worse as they get better. And it usually boils up into, at the same time, whoever they're training with is paying them more attention and saying, hey, and they're hanging out. They've got a lot of things in common and everyone's looking better and they're
This
hanging out
happens
together
all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
describing is not just triathlon, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure,
mean, I've
I'm
seen
sure.
that in track racing back in the day. Like that's a very common thing, even in the workplace. You meet people, and that's I mean,
It just seems like it happens all the time in triathlons. I mean, we know some people in triathlons that have been married 3 times, to people that they're triathletes with at the time. It's kind of weird.
I was just looking
It's
up
a
the
strange
stat
pool.
they say 60 to 80% chance of marriage failure after retirement for most. Unfortunately, marriages of professional athletes tend to end in divorce more often than ordinary marriages. Estimates place that rate of divorce anywhere between 60 and 80% after retirement. That's crazy.
After retirement, I totally get that.
I mean, I went through this, and I know a number of other athletes that were teammates of mine that went through this, and there is this, it's not like there's a hell of a transition of identity immediately following retirement. You literally have no idea who you are as a person. I mean, I remember it vividly. It fucked up my life, man. I mean, it was like a life-changing thing for me to go through retirement and cycling at a in my 30s, and then quickly realizing that it's just, you spent the last 15 years racing a bike. Now what the hell are you going to do? You got to figure that out. I mean, that's ultimately where my stuff came from, pedaling mines and other things. But like, I think for a lot of athletes, that's very challenging because now you're home all the time. Like you're saying, Rob, you're no longer out training. You're not getting out the energy flow. You have this whole identity crisis of who you are. So you're not even handling or coping with yourself very well, and then typically, like there's a transition, that whole transition, that change, like how much money do you have to actually, take the time to find the job you want? Do you have the training to find the job you want? There's all these factors that, like,
I mean, you have the big endorphin crash. You were getting tons of endorphins from all the working out and all the racing and the highs. And now that's all gone at the same time that you have financial worries, skyrocket, a bit of depression because you have a self-identity crisis. What are you going to do next? What are you involved in? What should you be going and doing? Feeling like you've missed out on a ton of stuff. Realizing you've missed out on a ton of stuff on the social side. At the same time, you get that feeling of, oh my God, I'm missing out on the culture and community that I was a part of, being the racing community. It's moved on without me. You get all that stuff piled on at once. I can understand those kind of pressures. I've had them to a very mild extent at different points in my life. I can't imagine going through that at a high level.
And then you put divorce on top of that.
Surprised at all,
right?
Yeah.
You put divorce on top of that, and then what that costs and what that feels like. Retirement for a lot of athletes is very painful. And I think it would be interesting. I can think of, probably 8 right off the top of my head. And these are cyclists, right? But not everyone's like that. It's different. Depends on the situations. Anyways,
I think a lot of people, it's like a lot of relationships, some, when they get into that adversity, it's not, the old saying is a relationship is strong if it's not about whether or not you love each other. It's more a measure of how well you deal with the conflicts. In other words, a lot of people can love each other and a lot of people can get along with each other, but to also be able to get through the conflicts and get through conflict resolution without destroying each other, in the process, has a lot to do with it, in my opinion. That's why a lot of marriages that get to a certain point, I think, you're almost guaranteed to make it after a while, because you've run into a lot of problems, and at least you're now intelligent about and have some empathy about how to deal with each other when things come up. It's hard. I mean, that's where, if I hear anybody having an anniversary, once they get over, I don't know, even 15 to 20 years, it's like, wow, that means a lot. You've gone through a lot, regardless of how your life's been. You've gone through a lot. So
it's interesting
I
you say it
applaud
like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting, because you're right. There is so much that happens in a relationship, and there's so much that makes it healthy, and ups and downs.
Of course, I'm probably waxing nostalgic because my wedding anniversary is tomorrow. So, is it tomorrow? No, it's in 2 days, but we're
years has it
celebrating
been?
tomorrow. 23
Nice.
years. So it's our golden anniversary.
Nice.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 22 years. Yeah, no, it's our golden anniversary. It's 22 years on the 22nd. So I get this messed up all the time, because there's a bunch of 22nds in our life, and then our son came along and he was born on the 21st, which means now we don't know what any of the dates are anymore. We're like, I don't know, is that the 21st or the 22nd? And Julie's as bad about it as I am. So
Scott and I hit our 30th this year.
that's because you're fucking old.
Nice. Congrats.
30 years. That's a long time of knowing somebody. That's a lot of time of knowing somebody. A lot of history too. A lot of
I
activities.
mean, think about that. How many people have you known in your life for 30 years outside of your direct family?
Yeah.
Of course, for us, not very many, because we're not nearly as old as her.
Facts.
Ooh. Facts.
Um,
I'm an old fart. I'm an even older tomorrow.
Have you?
That's right. Her birthday's tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, it's even older. Have you started farting dust yet?
And 6 years ago.
Oh, nice. I'm just kidding.
Happy birthday.
happy birthday. Yeah, tomorrow's your birthday?
Yeah.
Nice.
56.
What are you gonna do?
Build a couple wheels.
Honestly, it's we kind of celebrated my birthday last weekend. Went out to dinner with family and close friends.
Awesome.
And and then tonight is our normal kind of like date night. So we're going to go out tonight, and we'll make it another birthday celebration, I guess. I don't know.
You should
Tomorrow,
see if you can hang a pinata somewhere and get like a bunch of random adults to swing at the pinata.
Where are we going with
you.
this?
I don't know. It'd just be funny. But take your husband home like a pinata that you get from the store. And be like, hey, for my birthday tonight, I want to get a bunch of strangers to swing at this pinata.
What if I'm the pinata?
Whoa.
This is going to go somewhere we don't want it
I
to
have
go.
a pinata costume that I raced in last year.
Oh, that's true.
I could be the pinata.
So anyway,
PG-13.
Hey, real quick, going back to what you guys said about the long endurance, the arduousness of it. I went and saw Lachlan and Angus Morton's Tour Divide film the other day in Boulder.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good. It was
make
different
good stuff.
It was different. I mean, it looked hard. It looked hard. It was good. It's a good film. I recommend seeing it. There's not much. It's interesting how he takes you through it. It's different than their other films.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that series and all the work that Gus does with the thereabouts. That stuff's really good. That stuff's really, really good.
We should go do the Divide.
I'll pass. Hard pass.
I don't know anything about it. I mean,
the Tour Divide.
I know nothing, but
it?
if Tim said pass, then I'm not even in the bus.
It goes from Canada to Mexico. It's a trail. It's a trail that goes from Canada to Mexico through like Wyoming and Colorado. Divide. Yeah, and you do the whole thing. It's like 3,000 miles or something like that. Dude,
it's like 20. Yeah, it's like Lachlan did it in 12 days and like 12 hours.
Yeah,
and,
on a loaded mountain bike.
And his derailleur broke, so he was down to a single speed with 600K to go. Ooh. Like it was like, I mean, but here's the thing, and they didn't really show this in the film very much. They don't tell you how much he's riding a day, but if you do the math on that, and I think he'd be way faster.
It's massive.
It's like 200 miles a day.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of crazy because I don't want to ruin the film for people, but like on day 6, like he gets to day 6, and that's finally when you can see like the fatigue in someone's face, and like he's still got 6.5 days to go, and there's it was a good film. You should go check it out.
Everything that I've seen that is centered around something crazy film wise that Lachlan has done, it's like I can't believe that there's a human being that can do this. And that's that's like one human being, but there's so many people that can do stuff like that you don't even know of.
Exactly.
It's
and
insane.
They just happen to have the film crew and the funding of EF behind it to say, yeah, let's go for that. That'll be a cool thing. But to document, and he's very open about it. Like, he doesn't hold the record openly because he has support. Just having a camera crew there, the psychology of that, knowing that if you really have shit that hits the fan, you have someone there. Like, the purists were against him having the record, but he openly admits it. He's like, dude, I'm not here for the record. I don't even want the record. This is how I did it.
Yeah.
And this is the documentary of like what it was like. And that was badass because like it was like he still gives Mike Hall the record. Like, he still has a record because there is a total element to doing completely solo. Yeah, self-supported.
Well, there's another girl, an ultra endurance girl, Leah Wilcox. I've watched some of her stuff, and she is next level. She is next level insane. Like, her and Lachlan together would be insane. But another thing she did some kind of FKT. I don't remember the name of it, but again, same circumstances. She had her partner follow her along and document it and make a movie out of it, and she got the record, but it didn't count because the purists said, you can't have any support, any outside support, no matter to what capacity it looks like. But I watched this film, I forget the name of it, and I was mesmerized. I was mesmerized by the shit that she could do, and she did. To get to a point where you have 600 miles to go and your next obstacle is the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon, you're not allowed to ride a bike through it. So she had to break her bike down, put it on her backpack, and hike 20 miles through the Grand Canyon, come out, build it back up, and continue. That's fucking gnarly. I'm sorry.
What race is this?
I forget what it is. I'll do some research and I'll put it in our chat, and you guys can go check it out. It's wild. This girl does some gnarly shit.
It is interesting, like these people that are like doing this, like, I mean, the film definitely motivated me to want to try to do more of that, to get out there and ride more of that stuff. And I haven't seen any of her stuff. But I watched Ted King's. I don't know if it was Lord Wilcox in there, but I watched Ted King's version and Alex Howe's version of Riding the Divide, and he had his own drama. It was just, they filmed
Ted
it kind of themselves.
He was on like a deathbed.
He got super sick.
Yeah. Took himself to the hospital.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It was. Yeah, it's interesting to like just listen to the, how hard it was to leave that. I mean, it looked super fun. I mean, think about that. That seems like awesome. He was just chilling the whole way. He was just not taking it that like. Yeah. He was going hard, but not like taking it like.
The mental capacity you have to achieve something like that, or to even like think of wanting to try something like that, blows my mind. Every time I think about it.
Fun, man.
I don't think I could handle it mentally. Physically, I think I could handle it. Mentally, I would have a breakdown.
Ted King's post yesterday, there's one thing riding that he cannot handle, apparently.
Poor weather.
He just discovered it, and it's 34 degrees and raining.
Shit.
He's like, I can do cold, I can do warm, but like 33, 34 degrees and raining, no.
Dude, in Lachlan's, I listened to, after Lachlan did the Tour Divide, I listened to like a podcast he had done talking about the Tour Divide and the challenges that he faced. I think he was in Wyoming somewhere and got caught in a just ungodly thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And he's
pretty well filmed.
He's deathly afraid of lightning, and there was lightning all around him. And he's
I didn't know he was deathly afraid of it. That is interesting. He didn't say that so much in the. I don't want to ruin it for people, but like they do cover some of that, and he's got a pretty funny statement in there that like it's differently done than the other thereabouts films. Like it's just got a different feel, because I think the one thing that they captured in it was one that they really weren't interacting with them. I think that's important. They really weren't like even the psychology of knowing that you have people at the other end, or like tracking you or whatever. They're right there. Like that is not, I understand where the purists come from for sure. But like, they did not interact with him. Like there was like, and they talked about it afterwards too, where they, you know, the thing is he'll answer questions just for the film side of it, so they don't take away from the film, but they won't like that's it. You know, like there's very little interaction.
Yeah,
you know, the film shows that. Yeah.
A lot of the social media stuff, because I followed it. I followed the journey. Like I found out he was starting it, and I followed along on the social media channels. And everything that I saw that covered it was from a distance. Like it wasn't, you know, oh, here we are fixing Lachlan's bike or you know whatever. Didn't he? He did stay in hotels along the way, didn't he?
Yeah, you can stay wherever you want to stay. It just has to be self-supported.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to camp the whole way.
Yeah, he didn't do it every day. He did it. What was his? He had something where he would like ride for 48 hours and rest for 12. I think that was his philosophy.
I don't remember. I
think I read something about that.
I think this is like one of the last sleep deprivation trips he was doing.
Yeah.
I think that's like a new policy, but I think he could go faster. He has some serious mechanicals. Anyways. Yeah. It was a good film.
That's a big, I think, sticking point on those that say no outside help. When you have a camera crew around you, just having somebody to actually exchange words with, even if they're only a few words, if you still say
that's
you're not
why he
going to
doesn't
talk
hold
to
the
each
record.
other. Yeah.
I mean,
that's such a huge thing on endurance events because the big challenge is always your own mentality over the long haul. And even having one person there to be able to exchange 2 words with goes a long way towards, you know, remaining sane.
You know, I was just thinking about it when we're on this, not to, you know, keep talking about Lachlan Morton, but I've been a fan of his for a long time, ever since he started to do stuff like this, like with him and his brother, where they rode across all of Australia. And I've been following it for years. And just to see his kind of progression within this ultra endurance space and the things he's able to tolerate and deal with from a mental capacity, it's astonishing. Absolutely astonishing.
Well, and I think most of you would agree. Once you get the basics on physicality, it's all psychological in terms of long-term endurance.
You got to have survival skills too. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, if you're in the wild, you got to know how to survive.
Yeah, dude, and you're way out there. I mean, that's the thing. Like, they're out there. Like, if you have any mechanical, like he was on. Again, I don't want to get into it too much. I want to leave it because I don't want to ruin it. You know, people need to see it.
Well, so talking about movies and talking about endurance events, I do have to take a split second to mourn the loss of GCN. They went away on the 19th, so yesterday, disappeared. I made it a point in the last few weeks to try to get in and watch as many of their productions or movies that they had on the app as I could. I didn't get a lot done, but I got some. And one that I watched was they did a bit on Paris, Brest, Paris. And out of any endurance event, like gravel events don't really appeal to me at the endurance level, like the ultra endurance level or even super long events, maybe not even ultra endurance. Those don't really appeal to me. If I was ever to do one, it would be Paris, Brest, Paris. That, for some reason, really appeals to me. And I think it may just be because I'm nostalgic. It's like the first big endurance event I heard about when I was a kid growing up. But watching the video, they had a really good video or movie about it on GCN, and they did a really good job going through it. And luckily, this last one that they just had this year, we know some people locally that went out and did it, and I just think that's amazing. If you're listening, kudos. You did something that I've always dreamed of probably doing, but I probably won't ever actually do. But that would be my only pick for an endurance, ultra endurance type of event. I don't really. Is it really ultra endurance though? I mean, it's what 400 miles, 500 miles, something like that, 600 miles.
Dude, if they do it in one run, yeah, that's ultra endurance.
Not many do. There's like a front. It's
even
like
in
with
2
any,
days or whatever, 3 days. It's like
I think they were doing it. I don't remember the timing on it, but a lot of people I want to say do it in like 5-6 days, around in that range. But
then it's not ultra endurance. I don't.
Yeah.
Then I agree with what you're saying. Like, what constitutes ultra endurance?
I mean, it's something to where.
I mean, ultra endurance is what those two guys were describing before about the Ironman. Like the way your body's coming apart, that is ultra endurance. You know,
I would say Paris, Brest, Paris is definitely a big endurance event because the people that are racing it at the front are absolutely. A lot of them are ex-pros. You know, they're going out there and they're. It is all on. They are stopping for like seconds at the stops to swap out food, stuff like that, and then get rolling again. and they're doing it all in and go. And they have, I can't remember what their record they're shooting for is, but I think it's within 24 hours. It's like 20 hours or something like that.
Yeah, they just ride straight through. That's ultra endurance.
Yeah.
Right.
That's psychotic.
Yeah, and it's especially when you look at the terrain where they're riding. It's nuts. The number of climbs they have to do and everything else.
I like climbing.
But that's so ultra endurance though, and talking about riding in really poor conditions leads me to what we were mainly going to talk about today, which was fat bike riding. I finally have been getting out and doing some fat bike riding this season. Put in 2.5 hours yesterday in the frozen tundra that is, before 11 a.m., before it warms up enough to actually start to thaw out. But Mike, you told us a couple of weeks ago that you were looking at doing, I thought it was nationals, but you're saying it's worlds, fat bike worlds?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how serious people take it, but I'm going to take it seriously. I mean,
the official, unofficial fat bike worlds?
It's like single speed cyclocross world championships. It's not a real world championships, but everyone that's in it calls it a world championships.
I'll tell you what, man, if I were to win the world championships, I'd get a rainbow jersey for sure.
You should.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when is it and where is it?
It's January 26th and 27th in Leadville, Colorado. So it's like at 10,200 feet. Like it drops just below 10,000 and then it goes up like to 10.4, I think, or 10.3.
How long is it?
It's 25 miles on a course of that's like 5 miles long or 5.5 miles long. So it's like 24 miles long. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting.
That's intense. Especially at that altitude.
At that altitude, there's got to be a lot of climbing, right?
There's like 400 feet a lap. So it's not that much, but at altitude... Yeah.
Dude, you're at 10,500 feet. That's like sucking through a straw.
The profile is interesting. The profile, I can show you guys the profile. The profile is kind of interesting. It's like up and then down. There's a lot of downhill. And so like fat biking is like totally new to me, man. Like I've only ridden it like 3 or 4 times. I actually have been focusing on it quite a bit more because when I decided to do the world championships, I was like, I better take this seriously. This might be the last time I race. So I'm out of retirement. I'm training.
Official. We love that.
Officially out of retirement.
We love that. See?
I'm out of it. I'm out of retirement. I'm pulling a Mario Lemieux to race Fat Bike Worlds.
I love it.
I'm a Michael Jordan over here drinking my eggnog and rum.
No, see, you're sticking with the same sport. Jordan went to baseball, but then he went back to basketball.
Fat bikes is nothing like road bikes, dude.
Oh, I know that. I don't even ride
sport.
I don't even ride a fat bike, and I know that. I know enough to know that.
We have to change that, by the way.
Yeah, you do. They're fun. They're actually they're fun. They're fun, and it's a killer workout, man.
Oh, I see that.
I'm hooked.
I was talking to an elf, one of Sanda's elves, and
Sanda's elves. Sanda's elves.
A Sanda elf.
A Sanda elf.
And there may be a fat bike that is available that is in our size.
So I built up my new one, the carbon frame one that we broke.
I like how you say we. It was me. I broke it, but you paid for it to fix it. So
yeah. So my size medium,
Chris
Farley is available for you to test out and check it out and ride on it and see if you hate it or love it. Or
I certainly will not do it unless there is snow conditions. I see people. I will tell you, I see people riding out now on a fat bike, and when it's dry, and I just laugh at them.
Well, I will say this,
dude. Complete overkill.
I'm the same. But
you laugh at yourself.
Riding yesterday, yes, I do often.
That's good.
Riding
That's
yesterday when it was below, we started at 17 degrees. When it's that frozen over, even though there's not necessarily snow on the ground, it rides very similar. I definitely had way more traction, but it was still fun. Going out there when it's like regular warm conditions and riding a fat bike like in the summer, no, I hate it. But when it's that cold, the cold adds that element to it that makes it more fun and interesting, in my opinion, because you're hitting frozen ruts. It's
you
just
have
more
to
enjoyable.
Work pretty darn hard just to go like 5 to 6 miles per hour. So it keeps you warm and you don't have the wind chill.
What
also depends on what you're riding too, your terrain. Like we did a ride. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead,
I was going to ask if you structured some training for yourself, or
dude,
you're just out
heavily.
riding.
No, I'm taking it seriously, man.
I love it.
I'm keyed up. I'm keyed up to race, dude. Like I feel excited about it. And
that's awesome.
It wasn't like a plan. I just started I'm still going through some stuff, but like I just started riding. Like I live right at the base of Flagstaff in Boulder, and like Flagstaff is this like it's like 2,300 feet straight up, and like I leave from the house and I just start going. Like there's no warm up. Like you kind of like negative split it. You warm up into it, but then you kind of dig to the top, and like I know roughly how long it takes me to get up there, and I was just doing it over and over and over and over, and like like it was only like dude, like after 5 times going up, I could already see like a level of fitness increase. It was crazy. Like that was kind of cool because I like off the couch. Like this is just before Thanksgiving. Like it's not that long ago, and like and it was just making me feel much better. I just anyways. So I went to this bike shop and I was getting some stuff for the kids program, Pedaling Minds, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, the Fat Bike Worlds are in Leadville." I was like, "What do you mean they're in Leadville? When are they?" Because like I was telling my friend, I was like, "Man, I just need something to train for. Like I don't miss racing at the level I raced at, but I am still very competitive. Like you get me into a chess game and I'm coming for you as hard as I can, and I with Fat Bike Worlds, it's over 9,000 feet. When I used to race, when we did the Pro Challenge, like there was a pass, Cottonwood Pass, I went over with. Like we had a breakaway of like 17 dudes. We had some really, really good dudes in that breakaway. Zabriskie, Keel Reinen, a whole bunch of Colombians, like guys that could climb. And I actually initiated this breakaway like in the beginning of the race. But this is like one of the stages of the Pro Challenge. And as we started going up, Danielson was coming across from the field, so the pace started to pick it up, and it's really picked up as soon as we got Danielson. But once you got above 9,000 feet, it was like a game changer. Like for whatever reason, physiologically, like I could ride better than other people above 9,000 feet. When we got below that, I would struggle. Like when we came through like town here to like go up, I could not keep up at the altitude at 5,000 feet, 5,280 feet. Like, but once you get above 9,000, it was like I could climb. Like we dropped out of that group of 17. We dropped like I don't know, 11 or 12 people out of that group, and it was me, Zabriskie, Danielson, and a Astana guy and something else. There's a picture of it somewhere, but I got dropped just close to the top, and I went over the top like, I don't know, 35, 45 seconds behind him. And this is the fastest I ever went on a bike, was going down the pass, a Cottonwood Pass, and Zabriskie somewhere is on camera, or I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but like even Vaughters is like, he couldn't believe that I was there. But then on camera, there's a video clip somewhere of Liggett. Like, who is this? Who is this coming down the mountain? And I've never seen it. I've heard about it. I would love to see it because I was going so fast, man. I was doing 76.5 miles an hour.
Holy
like super chuck.
Like just God.
It was. But
no speed wobbles, no speed wobbles or nothing.
Dude, you're on the best stuff. I mean, it's on the just tested stuff. It's like
you can be on great stuff. It still comes down to your mechanic.
Dude, you know how big a small pebble at 76 miles an hour appears on a bike?
I mean,
when
you have the road in front of you and the road is cleared by all the people in front of you, and you have shoulder to shoulder.
That's true.
And you have the ability to open up the throttle like that. You don't really have that option on like open roads.
You went back to Vaughters. You went back to Vaughters and said, "I need a 58.11."
Yeah, what kind of a cadence do you have to push to keep it moving that fast?
Gravity.
I mean, you had to be pedaling.
That's doing the aero tuck. You're well over. You're letting gravity take you.
Wow.
That's why they called me Meatball, because I was like a like a round. I used I'm like a range rob, the most aerodynamic shape there is. We're looking at it.
Arrow before arrow was cool.
I was going to say, once you get over 9,000 feet, that's your advantage. It's the arrow, because it's all, you have less drag at that.
Well, so there's that aspect. So as soon as I found out I was in Leadville, I was like, okay, like physiologically, I know this is a thing for me, because like I definitely there's no way you could ride over Cottonwood Pass with those guys and drop the guys you were dropping. Like even Keel Reinen lived at altitude at the time. Like So there's definitely something with my heart stroke volume. There's something physiological with that. The other races like that, I was always good at it when we got above that. So that's part of it.
Wow.
The other side of it is that so I had the iliac artery kink that we had chat on. We talked about.
Mm-hmm.
With a fat bike, I am not impinged by it's not impinged nearly as much. So I can fucking jam, dude. Like I'm all excited for it. Like I feel good when I'm climbing. I feel good. Like, like I can. And it's also like a different technique. Like there's a totally different technique. It's not about, there's like more torque related. There's more control. There's more like the whole fat bike riding thing, the tire pressure, like it's very interesting. Like I am kind of digging it quite a bit actually. And I'm looking forward to the competition side of things. Like going hard and holding that line. Like I miss that. So I'm looking forward to
I hope you enjoy every minute of it. When you're done, I'm going to introduce you to the sport called cyclocross, and we're going to do the same thing on cyclocross bikes.
We're gonna make fat bike racing the new gravel scene. We're gonna start traveling in our camper vans.
You can show up at a cyclocross race with a fat bike.
You can.
Don't you dare, Mike.
You will be heckled out of existence if you do it in Chicago.
Well, no, I kind of want to
the best part.
Like if you could start doing like what do you need to make it popular? You need to have a prize list, like you need to bring people in. But at the end of the day, like it'd be cool to like, I don't know, come out and do the Berkey and some other fat bike races.
Wait, so you're already into promoting events now? Is this where we've already gone the full gamut?
Yeah, I think we should start promoting some events. I think, we need to change up the structure a little bit in the event type. But yeah, I think we should start promoting some events.
That's an interesting point. I don't want to leave the fat bike thing yet, but I do want to say I was on an LA call with USA Cycling today, and the focus of the call, and I appreciate how it's structured because the focus of the call was supposed to be, here's the end of the year. I want every LA to talk about what went really well this year for them, because the last call was, what are the problems and challenges that you're facing? So this was, LA is a local association. So I am the LA president for Illinois. So I am in charge of the Illinois Cycling Association, the ICA. But it was, what for every LA, what things have gone well, what were your, good things this year? I got to say, there was an overwhelming majority of people that said that cross was up for them this year, that the attitude for cross was like way up, that the excitement is back, and we saw it here for us. And so they said that was good. And then a lot of them said that there's new people getting in trying to promote races. And I got to say that we're seeing that some here in Illinois now, is we're starting to see some new people come in and starting to promote races. So I think, to your point, everything's on the upward trend, in my opinion. I think we're going the right direction grassroots wise, and it's kind of good to see. So if that includes doing fat bike gravel, I'm all about it.
Well, I have a pretty good, I've been watching some stuff on YouTube, and these guys go pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
like they take it, they go pretty hard. So we'll see. I've been quite focused. You asked me about my training, Tim, and I've been quite focused on, there's a difference in coaching other people, and then like you got to coach yourself. And I'm trying to like take an approach of like, where are the mistakes that I made when I was racing before? Because I always kind of coached myself. You had coaches at different times, but I always pretty much coached myself. And it's like I made mistakes in recovery. I made mistakes in terms of effort. I made mistakes in probably overtraining and how much I was not eating. And you just start changing those aspects of it. And then also some of the technique, you got to practice some technique. Like the fat bike doesn't handle the same as other bikes. You got to get that down. Like downhilling in the snow is very different at speed. The tire selection makes a difference. It's kind of like a mix between like motor. Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know. It's interesting.
Very similar to cyclocross.
There's a learning curve. There's a learning curve for sure. Because even when I got a full suspension mountain bike, I was like, this is a full suspension mountain bike. There's no problem. I could ride this thing, no problem. Because I had the BMX background, I was like, it's a mountain bike. This thing's cake. I got bucked off more times than I care to remember the first couple months I owned this mountain bike, because there's a front suspension, there's a rear suspension, there's tires, there's different pressures. And I was like, what? This is almost to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to ride a mountain bike anymore. But I figured it all out. And that was the cool part, was figuring it all out through my own mistakes, through racing scenarios, and just figuring out, okay, this track is this way. I need to do this with my front suspension, this with my rear suspension, this with my tire pressure. It's a wicked puzzle you got to put together. And that's what's cool about it.
Same thing on a fat bike, man. That thing handles so completely differently than any other bike, and it's just like, how do I turn this thing fast? How do I make it?
And how do you do it at speed? And what happens when you lock that front brake up? And I'm trying to chess it a little bit. I'm trying to understand it so I can, like, again, we're at altitude. I imagine there's gonna be a lot of really fast dudes there, and it'll be by age category too. But like, I want to put the best effort in that I can, just because it's just an opportunity to race. Like I said to you before, Tim, like, I don't know what I'm going to race again this next year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll race again soon after, but like, I might as if I'm going to do the time to train, I'm going to do the time to like think about it enough that it's like,
don't half-ass it
seriously. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to put a costume. I'm not going for the costume competition they have. I'm going for the men's overall.
See, this is so refreshing.
Yeah.
So refreshing that actually somebody wants to race and do well rather than just go for a fucking party.
I just want to experience it.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah. No, I'm off the couch just before Thanksgiving. So like it's like, how fast can you get fit within reason? Right. To like, and it's not going to just be about speed and weight necessarily. My weight is heavier than I want it to be, but so I got to increase my power output. And like, I've already changed a lot in terms of my fitness, but I'm not going to drop a whole bunch of weight in that month and a half. It's just not possible. So how fit can I get within a range that I need to be in to actually race at that level, at that altitude, and for that distance? And it's not as hard as you think, but 25 miles on a fat bike is not short, and it's quite a bit of climbing per lap. So
yeah. I mean,
I have the profile.
I've watched some things that, if you guys are familiar with Jeremiah Bishop.
Where is that thing? Can you see me? Oh, here. See that? It goes up. See that green?
Oh, yeah.
Now you're going to call.
Yeah, here, we're going to decline that. See that?
Course profile is more important.
There it is, right there. Course profile.
Little sawtooth going on there.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
that downhill, what that means is that downhill is definitely going to be a factor. Climbing and downhill. So you got to be able to downhill.
Yeah.
You got to be able to climb. And you got to be able to hold that pace over the top of the climb, because you'll separate. That's where you'll separate, right? So then you got to control that on the descent.
Well, I think my opinion, I don't know anything really. This is just my opinion. I think if you just work on your technique and getting to know your equipment, whatever that looks like, you're going to do fantastic, because I know your old racer brain is going to kick in.
It's already in.
Yeah, you're going to.
For when I get on the line? Yeah, I've already
that's going to kick in. You're going to have plenty of instincts. You're going to know how to read the race and what's happening. And if you just dial in your technique and are comfortable, 100% comfortable with your bike, when you go there, the rest will take care of itself. And I think you'll surprise yourself. 100%.
I feel the need to point one thing out, because you said equipment like twice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike, you technically don't own a fat bike at this point.
Well, I do now. I own 2 of them.
Did you buy the other one?
I got to make a decision on which one. But I feel, so my buddy Chef Bijou Thomas, had a fat bike at scratch, and it was just sitting there. And he said I could use it to borrow it for the race. And like, so I was like riding it. I've ridden it, like, it's just, it's brand new. It's a brand new Scott, and he has it sitting up there, and it's like collecting dust. So Alan asked if I could borrow this bike to ride, Fat Bike Worlds. And I've ridden it like 4 times now, like climbing up Flagstaff and riding at Brainerd, which was awesome. It's like single track on tiny little bit of snow, Tim. You would have loved it. It's not fat biking on groomed trail. It's like fat biking single track, like on hiking trail that people have packed down. It was sick. It was actually sick. It was a sick ride. It actually got me so hooked on fat bikes that like I had to go buy another one today because the tires are expensive.
Oh God, they're ridiculous. Rob was showing me some of them. They're like $190.
Yeah, so I was like, this guy had cheap. A set of extra wheels, 2 sets of brand new tires. I was like, I'm gonna go buy this bike, and it's funny. Like I've been starting to look at the weight of the bikes. Rob, I talked to you this morning. The weight of that Scott is 35 pounds. The weight of this carbon frame fat bike is 34. It's only a pound lighter with a carbon frame. But the thing is like, I could easily turn around and resell that thing, but just getting the equipment, like I didn't have any fat bike equipment, and like I felt bad, using my buddy's brand new fat bike that I'm going to abuse to train on. It's not even abuse, you're just using it, right? So it just wears out. You get different marks on it. So I just offered to buy it from him. Like I was like, dude, I'm going to go shop for my own fat bike, and then he offered me that fat bike, and I was like, I'd already set up to buy this other fat bike, so I felt guilty backing out on that guy, and the guy had extra tires. So long story short, I own 2 fat bikes, and one's sitting in the living room right now. And as soon as we're done hanging up this call, I'm going to go check it out.
That is a difference from this morning, by the way. This morning he technically owns 0, so I just wanted to point that out. So getting to know your equipment,
I'm taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
No,
I'm taking it seriously.
Dude, I did not know that you had a cat.
Dude,
Who's this?
choose
Who's
one.
this?
Oh,
This is Stripes. She's a
Stripes?
crazy cat. She's crazy. She attacked me in the face. I just moved in with this cat.
Nice.
This is a new thing for me and her. But we get along so much better now. I
Nice.
love all animals. Like I hate flies and mosquitoes, but everything else lives, including spiders. And we've
She
come a
doesn't
long
look
ways.
super happy.
No, she's ready to get down.
He's an awesome cat.
Yeah. Actually, she's a crazy cat. She's a crazy cat, but it's kind of fun trying to like break through that barrier with that animal. It doesn't she was super defensive at first, and now she came up to me.
I've got 3 of them at home that were all basically feral and brought in, so I know.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun.
So yeah, I'm committed to whatever. I'll pick out which one works, what tire combination works. I need a tire combination. It's like now I have a spare set that I can ride on the road because I'm going to take the fat bike to the road. That's the thing is like you got to specify. I got to specify. So now I'm going to be riding solely fat bike because I have to maximize the time. It's so much wider and I got to get my muscles operational, my hips, my hamstrings, my quads.
Yeah.
Like I got to get that dialed in.
When I get done riding a fat bike, I can tell when I've switched to fat bike because when I get done, the next day my hips are just on fire.
That's not
because
going to work
it's
at the
so
World
much
Championships. I need to be optimized.
Get familiar with your equipment, man. I'm telling you. As soon as you figure out your tires, figure out your pressures, get your skills dialed in, fucking send it. You'll be fine.
I wouldn't mind filming that, like it would be kind of fun to film it, but it would also be interesting to have a power meter, like one of the core crank power meters. Just to see, I watched.
I get pedals. I think that's the way to go because you can move them from bike to bike. You can get like say Garmin has power pedals, off road.
Yeah,
I have a feeling
you got a Garmin connection.
I do not. I rode for those guys, but I don't get any deals from those guys.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm a Garmin dealer, so let's talk.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, the data is interesting. It'd be interesting to see the data from an effort like that. It
might be interesting. I don't know if you have any buddies at the other large company that's out there, but I did notice
Stages.
It starts with an S.
Stages.
I did notice that I went on. For those that know me, know that I am on the Time ATAC platform for pedals, and I absolutely love them. I've been on them for quite a few years. I went through a lot of different pedals before that. I was on SPDs like everybody. I tried. I even did the Speedplay Frogs way back when.
Oh, me too.
And then after that, I went to Crank Brothers, of course. And none of them really kind of got me well, except for maybe SPDs were kind of close. But going to Time ATACs, oh my God, found a home. I'm there forever. The parent company of Time now, we've covered this on this podcast, is now SRAM, at least for the pedal side. And they ran a big sale on Time pedals for the last half of this year. A couple months ago, they announced, hey, super big discount. We're wanting to offer it up. It's because we got too much inventory right now. And, we just want to get it's easier for people to get onto the platform if, it's a little less expensive for them to buy multiple sets and outfit all their bikes, that kind of thing. Well, they did that little thing, and they have not gotten any new inventory since, and at least that I can see. And now all the models that I run, I looked yesterday or the day before, and they seem to not be in that catalog anymore. So
are these power pedals that we're talking about?
I have to feel like they may have something new coming down the pike just from that. It would be horribly bad blood if they did all this to blow out the platform and they're not going to use that platform anymore. I would be a little perturbed over that, but we've been talking about how they bought Power Tap and everything else, and they're integrating power into everything, and they really needed a good pedal system. I always surmise that that's why they picked up Time, was to have off-road pedals. Because the big ones are SPDs and they're owned by Shimano. So I have a feeling that we might be seeing a Time ATAC based power system from SRAM sooner rather than later.
That's a good point. Why else would you buy PowerTap? Why would you buy that technology?
Well, they also did it for the instrumentation that PowerTap told us they had at the time that could lend itself to e-bike control systems, which they now came out with their mountain bike e-bike system. So I think it's inbound. That's total conjecture on my behalf. I know absolutely nothing, and talking like this just assures that I will never know anything directly. So, which is good. That means I can just sit here and, dream up stuff out of off the top of my head.
So Garmin makes the Rally.
Yep, I'm
which
looking
is
at
an
it now.
SPD platform.
It's an SPD platform.
There you go. There it is
And they
right
have
there.
different price points in that.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
a single,
Yeah.
one-sided. They have a double-sided. Those are the two options, though, right? They don't have anything outside of that, do they?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Shimano
Here's
SPD.
there's
you go.
the XC200, the XC100, and then I don't know.
Those are
what
the
that
road
is.
ones.
Those
That's
are the
road.
road ones. Yeah.
So yeah, they've got a one-sided and a two-sided. Says the Garmin dealer, who's completely up on top of all the products that they offer.
I'd be down to try the pedals out. I mean, because that gives you the ability to check individual leg power, but which I've been doing too. I think that's important to be able to. I haven't used my hamstring. Huh?
Oh, I was going to say they'll mess with your Q factor a little more.
The mountain bike pedals?
I don't know that they're. Are they that much wider Q factor wise?
I think so.
You're already on a fat bike.
Yeah.
Q
Yeah.
factors.
Yeah, it's already.
Yeah, but
riding it out.
why blow it out any more than it already is?
I can't imagine that the power pedal spindle is any longer than a standard pedal. Like, why would they make it with a longer Q factor?
They traditionally are kind of close to longer, I think, in a lot of situations.
Just based off of where the power unit sits.
Based off this photo, I can't tell a difference. It looks pretty good.
I'm new to this sport, so I don't know anything about it.
I think you're splitting hairs. When you're talking about a fat bike, you're already,
Yeah, I'm like already riding on a.
You're already screwing yourself.
He's already riding a horse.
You're going to get done with this, and you're going to be like one of those cartoon characters walking in through a saloon, kind of.
I mean, that's the thing, though.
With the bow legs.
Like after the World Championships in Leadville, there's a race in Frisco. There's another race somewhere else. Like I kind of want to just go do them.
He's already gone.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's silly. I feel stupid for buying two bikes because I don't need two bikes, but I needed a second set of tires. Like, I for sure can take these wheels off, sell the bike for what I paid for it.
Hey, Mike.
And then,
Mike, you don't have to justify it to us.
No,
I know.
no.
You're right.
We would have done the same thing. We probably would have done more.
He just set up a whole second set just so he's got one with studs and one without.
Oh.
I had to.
It's good looking.
They were on sale.
The tires definitely look a lot better. Like than I have these. I don't know what the hell they're called. Something.
Tan walls.
Johns or something. Big Johns. I don't even know what it's called. Little John.
Little John. Yeah.
I was like, but.
Little John is not going about fat bikes.
Great. Now we're going to get a cease and desist.
Oh, sorry, Little John, or whoever's listening. He's not listening to this, I guarantee you.
No.
So I'll let you know how it goes, Rob. I'll let you know how it goes.
I want to know
how. I have to let everybody.
I want to know how the training's going. I don't care if you come on and tell us. Slide into the group chat. Tell us how it's going. Provide us with some data.
I don't care. I mean, I've been in. Yeah. I mean, I basically. I don't know. I mean, this is why the only power files I have will be off of Zwift because I don't have a power meter on the road. I just know off of how I feel, But
turns out that still works.
Yeah, it works really well, actually. Yeah, I'm just trying to listen to my body. When I'm tired, I don't go and train. Like I'm not really, I'm kind of doing 2 days on, 1 day off kind of thing. 2 days on, 1 day off. Depending how hard I went, I might, not do 2 days on. Like my legs are sore today. I rode Zwift last night for 50 minutes and I'm jacked up today, so I'm not riding today.
That's good.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait.
That's the thing is like Zwift is such an interesting training tool. Like I never had that before either. Like it's such a good tool. Wahoo is the same way. Like
love it.
Where you can sit there on your trainer and put your heart rate at like zone 5, which is always hard to do on the road because you're navigating the road, right? You're still driving your bike, but like at zone 5 on Zwift, like you're still having to do power. Like that was always a hard thing for me to do when I used to like race professionally. I could never really train in certain zones because it was not only that hard, but hard to hold it. It was the road fluctuated. Like on the trainer,
Yeah.
you have other people right there that you're racing against, and like you're not having to like steer. You can like huckle over your handlebars and close your eyes, and you're still in that zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I totally get that.
Yeah, I just basically climbing and doing Zwift, and I'll ride some off road stuff on it too now. Now I have extra tires.
Nice.
So have people been joining you on your weekly trip up Flagstaff? I saw you post about that.
Yeah, a couple people. Again, that was a couple people, but I think it's a little too late. People get freaked out by like the lack of photons. Like they don't like riding at night. And riding Flagstaff,
I love riding at night.
I hate riding.
I do too. Wow, but Flagstaff is like people get scared coming down because they're afraid of the snow or like the cinders in the turns. But unless it's like just recently snowed, there's nothing on the road, and then you can see people's lights from their cars when they're driving up. So like when you're driving up, like I'm safer at night riding Flagstaff, this steep mountain right outside of Boulder, like at night than I am during the day. During the day, like 5 o'clock is dangerous, man.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you pass when they're coming down and going up, and there's not that much room, even though there's a bike lane, like or a shoulder. Like it's just way more dangerous, and they're kicking up all the soot. Like at night, there's no one out there, no riders, no people, no drivers, and if they do pass, they're gone. Like and you're out there. It's beautiful. I don't know. I've found a lot of peace in it.
You're just
Leah.
so much more visible with the lights.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for me is that when it's dark out, I'm sleepy, and it's hard to get it up to go train.
Man, I've had some great training
opposite.
rides until 10:30 at night. Like I get back at 10:30 and I'm like, I had this amazing ride. I'm sweaty, feel good, and I go right to sleep. It hasn't like been a thing for me at all.
Wow, that's good.
I
It's
get
been
amped
interesting.
up. I have a hard time going to sleep after I get back from riding or even track, going to the track and racing out at the track and coming home. I couldn't wind down. But I will say that I'm normally a night person anyway. So I find great solace in this time of year being able to ride outside at night. It's
It is
just
fun.
beautiful.
It
I
changes
absolutely
it.
love it. It's so quiet. You can be with yourself. There's no cars, or very much fewer cars, and less distractions and everything else. It's only every now and then when you get that thought where you're like, I'm completely alone and I'm in the woods, and anything could jump out at any moment. Usually it's a deer, but
Mm. Yeah, no. Me be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I mean, people are either people are night people. I'm definitely a night person. It's changing.
I'm a
as I'm getting
sleep
older.
person.
Yeah.
Recovery is
Dude,
important.
I just turned 49, and I have noticed that I now can't stay up as late as I used to.
Mhm.
And even if I go to bed at a decent hour, which I've been doing for quite a while, I don't know, do you consider midnight a decent hour?
Dude.
Even though I can stay up until midnight, I can't stay up to like 3 a.m. like I used to be able to, but I now can only sleep for like 5.5 hours, and then my body just wakes up. It's like if I try to sit there and try to sleep more, I can't. It's time to get up. The brain's going, and might as well. And I don't necessarily feel exhausted. Like only getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep back in the day would have made me exhausted.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm fully rested. I'm ready to go. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm hardwired to pretty much do about 7.5 hours on average, and I can't sleep any more than that as much as I would. 7.5 is still in the range of good, right? 7 to 9, but I can't make myself sleep more than that. So,
Dude, I started wearing the Whoop. I forget. I think at the end of last year, and I got my like year end thing.
yeah,
My average sleep was just under 10 hours.
Wow.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's why I'm not out riding at night.
Yeah.
No, but
No, I get it.
it was cool to see. Like, I remember we talked about it a couple episodes ago, or many, many moons ago. We talked about it, and I was always against it because it's just so much data that's thrown at you that I didn't know how to interpret. But there's a lot of tools within the app and the whole system that walk you through and explain a lot of the data to you. And as you compile more and more, the longer you use it, the more you understand yourself. So in that aspect, utilizing that, the Whoop as a training and recovery tool has been huge for me. I got more out of it than I actually thought I would.
I don't know much about Whoop. I've heard people talk about it, and I think those that I know that use it have said a lot of the same things you just said.
Yeah.
Where at first they didn't think they were going to get much out of it, and they almost kind of made fun of it.
I
Then,
was that person.
yeah. But then, over time they're like, oh, this is amazing. I looked into it briefly. I thought about getting one, but I still haven't. I also thought about getting one of those, the Aura ring.
Mm-hmm.
I like my ring.
The Aura ring would be cool. It would be cool.
I figured I would
thing pretty much.
I think that one does more specific heart kind of issues. So I'm more interested on my end on whether I'm having like, ATAG or whatever when I'm exercising, or if I'm having a weird, because I've said many times since COVID, my heart's been kind of weird, and I'd like to know more of what's going on. I think
you should go to a doctor, Rob.
I've done that, and they're like, well, get one of those. Actually, my doctor literally said, well, can you borrow like a one of those Apple Watches, because those will check for that, and then you'll know if you're having like heart issues. I'm like, cool, thanks.
I don't necessarily see that's some of the thing, like with the Garmin watches and the Apple watches, that whole like that. There's a little bit of a funny line between how accurate that is. I feel
exactly. I exactly. And if you use I've got a Garmin Instinct that I
do
use.
as well.
She didn't even know what it was, but it's I love the Instinct because it's their only like military grade one. All the other wearables that they had for years, I would trash within a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I would go into like a hot tub or something, and all of a sudden the face would like die on it. But I've gotten this one. This one's actually lasted through me wrenching on stuff, building stuff, everything for years. I think it's like 3 years old now.
Yeah.
It's good, and it does a really good job, and the data makes sense. But at the same time, I will never go out on a ride and use this as my heart rate for the ride. I mean, you got to have a strap on there.
Oh
Yeah, you
A
got
heart
to
rate
strap on, Rob.
You have to wear a heart rate strap.
Well, it's funny having like, I have a Garmin watch, I have the Whoop, I have the chest strap, and then it's funny to see what the Garmin says, what the Whoop says, and what your Training Peak says. So, like, I don't really even pay attention. I got the Garmin just basically for when I go running, like just so it can track mileage, so I don't have to hold a computer in my hand.
Yep.
So I don't really pay too much attention to that, but where I'm struggling is like, who's more honest here? Is my Whoop more honest, or is my Training Peaks more honest? Training Peaks, I've been with you. We've had a relationship for 7 years now, or 7 years plus now. You know me pretty well. Whoop, we're kind of new in a relationship. Do I trust you? So it's kind of cool to see the difference between the two. And there's not too much variance, because I think I've synced them up so they talk to each other. And they can share the data and what I get from Training Peaks, all my Whoop data is already on there. So I think that they're starting to coexist and starting to really paint a nice picture for me.
I always go to Training Peaks for everything.
Yeah. Not that I need this as a 48-year-old man.
I have 3 data sources now, because I have the Oura Ring, I have my Garmin watch, and it does the body battery. But so last year I got this 8 Sleep. It's one of these, you can either get a full mattress, or you can get this big cover that goes over your mattress, and it's connected up to a box on the floor, and it's got all this water that runs through it, and it changes the temperature of your bed through the night, and it senses your body's biometrics. So it's measuring my heart rate and heart rate variability and my body temperature.
Probably.
And it adjusts the temperature in order to keep me in the optimal sleep.
Probably
it's
through
amazing.
the vibrations in your heart through the water.
I don't know, but it's interesting because it also gives me what my resting morning heart rate, my HRV is every single day. And it's spot on with my Oura Ring, and it's mind blowing.
So you got the Oura
That's
Ring.
good.
That's wild.
But Leah, do you have a strap on?
Are you using the same joke we use against you,
no comment.
Rob?
No comment.
He's trying to turn it around on us.
You can't double dip, dude.
We said it so discreetly, we barely laughed, and now you pull it out into the middle of the podcast.
Absolutely. So, but
timing is everything.
Timing is. I want to point out we are not sponsored by any of these companies for any of these products, and
these are personal
a lot of other.
experiences.
But honestly, and no, not at all. But the 8 sleep is not cheap. But man, if you're somebody that struggles with temperature fluctuations, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a lady in her 50s
is it
or
8
what,
like the
but
number 8?
Yes, it's sleep 8.
Sleep 8. I'm gonna look at that. Not that I can afford that.
And
That's like probably fucking 5 house payments.
I go from I'm cold when I first climb into bed, and then shortly after I fall asleep, I'm like throwing the covers off. I'm soaked with sweat. I'm so hot, and then like an hour or two later, I'm freezing again. This completely eliminates all of that, 100%.
Interesting.
I have heard of it. What's a rough? I mean, you said it's expensive. What's a rough?
I want to say it was. I got it for somebody got it for Christmas. My lovely husband. I want to say it was somewhere in the vicinity of 2,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a set of fat bike tires.
Yeah. I mean, that makes it worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you can sleep better to ride your fat bike harder, perfect.
Man,
Absolutely.
when you suffer with all this sleep issues for years and years and years and years, it's a game changer. It really is.
Oh, I'm sure. That's cool. I never heard of it.
I'm looking up fat bike races right now.
There's a series out here. It's called the Huge Ass Fat Bike Series.
Which they already did one at the Trek headquarters this year. When's the next one?
Yeah.
Do they win anything?
Beer.
A medal.
Chainsaw with no chain on it.
Medals. I got a medal. We hit the podium in our relay last year with Bob Schrank.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's one at Lamont at the Forge. That's the one you guys are talking about, right?
Yes.
The one you did.
Yeah.
I actually am looking into that one. I might do it. It's a 20K. So that's like, I don't know, it's either 3 miles or 100. I can't remember. But yeah, no, it's like 15 miles or something like that in that range.
12 and a half.
$2,195 is for the mattress pad and system for Sleep 8.
Jesus.
Yeah, like I said, not cheap.
Yeah, but it's an investment in your health. It's a lot cheaper than going to the doctor 27 times a year.
It's it's been just so frustrating to try to figure out how to be comfortable throughout the night. So this is huge.
Yeah.
So no, Fat Bike Series, the one they do, the Huge Ass one, they do where you have to like hammer in a nail in between each lap you do on the course. And you have to get it all the way down the wood. It's it's goofy, but it's fun.
That's kind of actually, that's what I think brings people in to that kind of an event. But that's the kind of thing that made me decide I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it makes it seem like a joke.
I just want to ride my bike, man.
Like I'm looking, these guys look like they take it serious. That's the problem with the fat bike stuff is there's not that many events. So how do you get ready for it? Like you got to create your own event. That's what I'm doing every day.
That's what you should do a whole series. You should run a national fat bike series.
$10,000 on the line.
Wow.
For this World Championships?
No, I'd be awesome, right?
Yeah. What do you get if you win that?
I think just a medal, a participation medal. I'm not really sure. They don't really have it listed. I mean, that's the thing is like if you're going to put together an event, you have I don't know what the cutoff is, but you should have a prize list. I don't know. It should have it listed. It should be $500 or something. You should win something.
Absolutely. If you're going to,
I don't know. It's a fat bike race though, so you're going to win. Whatever the promoter, I'm sure he has his own microbrewer that he does at home and his own private label on it. You'll probably win one of those.
When and if Mike wins this World Championship, take whatever fat bike you choose, take it apart, send it to Rob. Rob will send it to Bob, and Bob will paint it with World Champ colors.
Oh yeah, we'll get it done.
Oh yeah.
Oh totally.
Yeah, that would be so funny. Take it like to the nth degree of like the world rings.
Just obnoxious. Like put like your name on it. Just get it all decked out.
Do like a fake interview where you're drinking like Red Bull and you have like a fake Red Bull helmet on and be like, I'm not sponsored by Red Bull, but I won the World Championships.
We're going to get a cease and desist from so many companies on this episode.
Why? We're just having a conversation.
Yeah. I guess we're improving their brand in some way. I don't know.
What are we afraid of?
And nothing.
Jeff,
Hey, look, hey, if they get an ROI from that, we're not doing anything bad. It stands out. We're literally talking about that thing. So
yeah,
hey,
for free.
If you want to,
right, for free.
If you
are in one of these companies and would like for us to talk about it every week, and would like to give us maybe $1 or $2,
if
go
you
ahead
have
and reach out to us.
Exactly, and if you have any interest in potentially sponsoring the world champion, let us know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I know somebody who has done the race that you're going to do.
Dude, there's going to be some fast guys. There's some fast guys. I mean, anyone who's young and fit and lightweight enough that can put down power. I just don't see how you could. Racing is so dynamic, right? Fat bike racing in particular is very dynamic. It's not as, you don't have to be the fastest, strongest, most highest FTP guy. There's a lot more to it, and that's what I like about it. The speeds are going to, I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea what to expect, man. I'm just excited to go. That's all. It's just because it's a race. That's
I think pace and handling is going to be your way to go.
Dude, you should see the front tire. That's one of the reasons I bought this bike today. Is the front tires. It looks like it roll fast, and it looks like it has pretty good grip, especially when you're turning. If you're turning, man, you got to have. It's like, dude, if you go ride in the mud on a dirt bike, or you go like to the desert on a dirt bike, depending on what you're riding, the tire selection, cross, same thing, mountain bike, same thing. Yep. It really makes a big difference, right? So I'm trying to prepare myself here to have the best possible race I can.
And pressure too. Pressure's.
Oh yeah, no, I learned
so
that this weekend actually how low I needed to actually be to have grip. Dude, Tim, the single track I rode was like, when you have a cross country skier and then you have a hiker, it's really like that wide. It's not really that wide, and then you step off, dude. It's already almost 2 feet deep up there. So like you don't want to step off into that. You're like, so it's there's a whole technique to it. I really enjoyed the technique, and I enjoyed having to suffer through and hold that technique. I think the groom trails will be a little bit different, but the video I saw looked like it was pretty narrow in some of these sections. So I don't know. That's awesome. I don't really know what to expect, man.
I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I learned really quick that even if you're in the groom track on fat bike and snow, that if you get near an edge, but you're still technically in the track, it's still like it steers you packed down. Yeah. And all of a sudden you just get pulled right off into the deep snow.
Yeah.
Like you have to stay in like the center 80% of the groom track, otherwise
you got to be in it.
You can't you can't like surf it
buried.
like a lot of people think they can. As soon as you hit that, the drag increases so much that it just throws you.
I think what happens when you get near the edge and you have such low tire pressure, your gigantic tire collapses, and whatever portion of that tire is on the non-compressed surface, it immediately starts to pull you that way.
Yeah. It just grabs. Yeah.
I think it's just less packed towards the edges.
Yeah.
It gets more firmly packed, and you get to the edge, and all of a sudden it's like you think you're still on groom trail, but it gets really soft, and all of a sudden it's just like it's almost as if the trail was like this, even though it's not.
It totally changed my ride structure too, because like I was like, it's like, so we only went like 3 miles like the first hour, and like, very early on, I was like, okay, the challenge is to just get started and stay in your lane so you can keep riding. It's way faster to ride than hop off and walk it, right? So the challenge was like, how do you start smoothly and keep your wheels straight enough to stay on that packed section of snow so you can just keep going? I mean, it was fun to hold that. It was fun to try to like just work the technique. And I don't know, I'm hoping at the World Championships, it'll be about positioning. There's so many factors. It's not about being the fastest person or the most fit person. Like, if you can go downhill faster than the average person, they got to close that gap. And if you can, ride certain sections they can't ride, that's another, there's just a lot to it that I look forward to.
And if you got snow, you got to learn how to pass in that single track too, which will be interesting.
Just get out of my way.
Play around. Yeah. World champ coming through.
Manifestation right here coming through.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll use a horn. I have this electric horn. It's got like 150 decibels. It's pretty amazing.
Nice.
Electric horn.
Play around with it.
In other news, there was a fist fight at a fat bike race in Leadville. Yeah, no.
I'm all
right.
love.
So we're running kind of long in the teeth. We're gonna try to wrap this up. I did want to say, if you do have an advice, if you've done this race or you know a hell of a lot about fat biking and it's your forte and you want to reach out and give Mike some advice, go ahead and hit Mike up directly on any of his socials, or send us an email to roadisdead@gmail.com. We do read them. Robert Garner, we read yours, shared it with everybody the other day. It was a really well-written one. We get a few every now and then. I share most of them, but that was a really good one. It had to do with some reasoning why we think that Wisconsin produces more talented cyclists than what we typically see coming out of Illinois. And some really good points in there. We might tackle it here in the future, but I did want to say thanks for writing in while I was throwing out the email address. So roadisdead@gmail.com. Obviously, go out to pedalingminds.org and check out Mike's work out there. And if you see so fit, step up, drop a dime or two, and help out his mission. And, of course, always grab some buttonhole chamois cream before you go out on your next ride. Should be available at any fine cycling retailer. And if it is not, tell them to order some. Apart from that, any parting words at all? No.
Happy holidays.
No, happy holidays.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Christmas time here pretty soon. I mean,
Happy
holidays been
holidays,
already going on.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we gonna try to? Oh no, it's Monday.
Eggnog.
Never mind.
Eggnog and rum. Eggnog and rum. It's
There you go.
amazing.
All right. Well, everybody, it's fun. Like, subscribe, share, rate, review, all that kind of stuff. And above all, enjoy the ride.
Be safe.